Welcome to Hot Flashes and Higher Self, the podcast where midlife becomes your awakening. I'm Soraya, a clinical hypnotherapist and rapid transformational therapist guiding women through perimenopause and beyond, embracing transformation rather than just symptom management. Each week, myself and inspiring women in wellness will dive into mindset shifts, somatic tools, spiritual practices, and the candid stories that move us towards our limitless selves. So, if you're navigating perimenopause, menopause, or simply just wondering what's next for me, then you're in the right place. Let's rise together, mind, body, and spirit. This is Hot Flashes and Higher Self. So today, I'm so happy to be joined by Katy, an astrologer, energy healer, soul mentor, and creator of Soul Radiance. Katy's work weaves together ancient wisdom, energetic activation, intuitive guidance, and transformational journeys through sacred sites, supporting women to remember who they truly are beneath conditioning, expectation, and fear. What I love about Katy's approach is how she bridges both the mystical and the grounded, helping women understand their soul blueprint, clear old patterns, awaken their feminine power, and align with the path they were always meant to walk. And her work is deeply intuitive, beautifully held, and rooted in the belief that every woman carries a unique purpose and frequency ready to be expressed. So today we'll be exploring her journey, the power of astrology as a tool for transformation, how energy healing supports emotional and spiritual shifts, and the ways women can reconnect to their soul voice, especially during midlife and times of transition. Katy, I'm so happy to have you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Soraya. What a beautiful introduction.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, Katy, share a little bit about your own journey and what inspired you to evolve into a soul guide, energy healer, and astrologer, working with sacred sites and transformational retreats.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's been just an ongoing process for me my whole life, really, I would say. Because I started learning about astrology when I was a teenager. So I was one of those kids that was always metaphysical and always like aware of something else and aware of psychic phenomena and messages. And really, as an astrologer, I think of myself as a diviner because it's a form of divination. And I think this is something that you are, some people are this in their soul. So even as a child and a young person, I would see messages in the world around me and I would read signs. I knew how to read the signs of the world and I would just practice with it. And like when you start listening to your intuition, it gets stronger and you start to realize that you really should listen. And a lot of times we don't, but then the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. So I was always on that path, really. And I started reading about astrology as a teenager. Also, I taught myself the tarot. I was very into numerology and Kabbalah and all kinds of hermetic wisdom. I felt very connected to all of those teachings. And then I went on a journey through Indian mysticism. I was with an Indian master and a Tibetan master, and it's been an ongoing process my whole life. And eventually, I did my diploma in astrology, and I did a lot of energy healing training, holistic training, and it's like an unfolding process where I learned to work with people. So I started as an aromatherapist and learned to connect with people's energy field and learned to consult with them and find out what's going on with them. And then I realized I could pick up things through touch. You can pick up a lot about someone's life through touch when you do a massage. And then I went more into the energetic methods of healing, the energy healing. And astrology is very much about the psyche. So I really love astrology. It's like a universal language, and I find it tells you so much. It really can tell you everything. It's the most high level personality indicators that we have. And it's a lot more than just the personality. It tells you about the soul, it tells you about your soul path and your highest potential in this life, and also your hidden blocks and obstacles, your karmic lessons. So it can tell you all of that, which is why I love to do soul path readings. And I also combine it with energy work because I'm suited to working energetically. That's just it feels natural for me to work that way. So astrology is very intuitive because you learn the structure and the framework, and then your intuition works within that. So I'm always connecting to the person and their soul path when I do the readings. And so
Mhm.
energy work just flows naturally with that.
Mhm.
So the natal chart is like a map in a way. It tells me everything I need to know about the person. And then it might come about that maybe they need healing with certain issues. So then I could recommend them some energy healing, trauma healing, emotional healing, those kind of things. Or the Akashic readings is for people who are interested in their soul path, their spiritual path, and past lives. So that's how I tend to work, and then that all led into running the retreats. Trying to think how it started. Really, I
Why Egypt? Because you said that you had the master, Indian master, and so you studied that a while. Why did you go to Egypt? 'Cause I know you do your retreats in Egypt, which is amazing. You've been doing it for 10 years now. Um, why Egypt? Tell me.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I was a teenager, when I was at the beginning of the path, I was interested in Egypt. And then I just went into the whole Indian and Tibetan teachings. And I think we go through different soul learnings at different times in our life. And, when I finally got to Egypt, I was doing a lot of energy healing. I was doing an energy healing training where you go into theta every day, all day, and it was about 3 weeks we were doing this course. And so I went to a really high state and I was healing past lives. And I started going back to Egypt and seeing an Egyptian life. And then I kind of became obsessed with going there. I thought I
Mm,
have to go to Egypt, and I think about it every day. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I kept meeting people who said, come to Egypt. You know how it just comes into your life sometimes. And
mm,
so I went there and I felt an instant connection with it, and everything's just unfolded since then. My destiny is there, and many, many stories have unfolded there for me. And this is in the
mhm,
last more than 10 years now. So firstly, for me, all teachings are universal. So I believe that all teachings and religions come from one universal source. So I don't really see any separation, but I believe that we each have our deepest, like our root soul connection, if that makes sense.
mhm.
I feel
Completely.
like
Mhm.
my deepest connection is with Egypt, and
Mm,
it's not something you can really explain, but when I go to the temples and the places, and also when I read if you've ever read any of the Book of the Dead or those magical verses, there's just something about them that just takes me somewhere. It's like it's really impossible to explain, but it's like a kind of remembering, you know,
mm,
remember something where your soul feels at home. And I find that when people decide to come on a retreat in Egypt or a sacred journey, they have something calling them there, and something in their soul is calling them there because they know part of them belongs there, or they have some story there, or some gifts that they need to reveal. So
mhm.
it's something like that. It's very I believe it's a place of the origins. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah.
Mm. Okay, interesting. Um, and you bring together astrology. energy healing, spiritual mentoring, and sacred journeys. How do you weave the practical and the mystical into your approach when you work with your clients?
Practical and the mystical. Well, because I work with the person on all levels, so
Mm,
the practical is always going to be there because you have your physical life, your mental and emotional life, and then your spiritual life. So the reading is on all levels. So there could be practical tips for changing your life, for example. But really, I like to focus on the psyche and the soul path.
hmm
And the people that come to me, that's what they want to look at because it all comes from the soul. Once you connect to your soul, it's like the soul guidance is going to start filtering through and transforming your life, and then the practical things in your life will eventually change.
Mm.
That's how I see it. So,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good explanation. Um, and for listeners who may not know, how would you describe the role of astrology and energy work in personal transformation?
How would I describe sorry,
The role of astrology and energy work in personal transformation.
right. Yeah, well, I feel it's very important because it's all about transformation. So
hmm
everything is energy, and even for people who don't believe in anything metaphysical, it's scientific facts that everything is energy because we know it's all atoms and electrons spinning around, and
Mm,
it's a lot of empty space and a lot of spinning, and so everything is energy. Nothing is actually solid. Nothing is actually what it appears to be, and
hmm
everything is frequency and vibration. So this is why energy healing works and why it's so powerful. And also with sound healing, it's all about frequencies affecting you, and that's also why EMFs are harmful to people because it's these frequencies that are affecting us, but we can't see them.
hmm
So energy work is very powerful, and the power of the mind is something that's been documented. The mind has a power over matter, and also our mind affects our physical body, our mind and our emotions, and it's much more powerful than people might think, which is one of the
hmm
things I want to talk about actually. And astrology is very helpful for people on the path of transformation because it's all about cycles. It's all about the cycles of life. So you have your natal chart, and this shows you the cycles that were happening at the moment of your birth. And we
hmm
can read a lot into this. But one of the main reasons why astrology is so useful is something called transits. So the planet's always moving, and we look at your natal chart and we look at the current transits and other methods of forecasting, which show you the cycles that you're moving through, different influences, different cycles of life. And there are several major life transits that everybody has. There's a couple of midlife transits, which I wanted to talk about a little bit because I think they're quite relevant to
hmm
this discussion.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that a bit later, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. hmm
Yeah, so it's when you understand astrology, it helps you to understand yourself and what your soul is wanting to do in this life. So
Mm,
when you become more clear on your soul path, and then you see the challenges that you need to overcome and the strengths that you need to develop, it helps you to transform yourself. And also, you may be going through a very challenging time. You may be having Pluto transits, which are one of the hardest transits that we can have. And I just find that even just understanding that that's what you're going through and what it means makes it a little bit easier to deal with because
hmm
people don't want to go into despair, when things are very when they feel like they're blocked at every turn, or they can't understand why certain things are happening. Even just understanding that it's the influence of Pluto, and it's all about letting go, and it's all about sometimes things are removed from your life because they're not for your highest good, and that just helps people to feel more faith and more trust in the direction of their life.
Mm. Yeah.
Because when you're on the spiritual path, let's face it, it's not easy.
Hmm.
The minute you decide to transform, the minute you kind of raise your vibrations and let in more light, the darkness comes up more strongly. So there's
Hmm.
always going to be challenges, and the challenges keep getting bigger and bigger. So the
Hmm.
more understanding we can have of why things are happening the way they're happening, it just helps us to navigate these challenges and to maintain that internal balance.
Hmm. I had just had a visual of navigating stormy waters in a little ship, little boat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah,
makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, it's good. Like it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that there is a, you will something bigger will come out of it.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because you have to see the future and know that everything passes and you're going towards something new and something better. So, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, and so why is working with the body's energy, the soul's patterns, and the astrological field so important in healing and growth?
Hmm. Well, so is the human body is actually a whole universe.
Hmm.
So we have the human body, we have solar system, the galaxy, the universe. These are all larger and larger bodies. The galaxy is made up of stars. Our body is made up of cells and atoms. And so the body is like a universe. And one of the magical laws is as above, so below. So if we understand the microcosm, we can understand the macrocosm. So the stars have something to teach us, they have an influence on us, and understanding our own body and our own energy system is very important, because we're not just a physical body, we have a chakra system, we have an energy body, we have our astral body, our mental body, spiritual bodies, and our soul. And the more you understand that, the more you can find your place in the cosmos, I suppose, in the greater cycles of life. Because people today, one of the major problems that people have today is this thing of being divorced from nature, and
Mm.
everything is so artificial, and
Mm.
we don't feel that connection to nature. Usually, if we live in cities, or there's so much artificial stuff, there's so much stress, there's so many toxins in the environment, there's this constant electronic, technology, and it's cutting us off from our natural state. And our
Mm.
natural state is to be at one with nature. This is
Mhm.
how we've always lived, to be at one with nature, to be under the stars, to be at one with the elements. And this is what, you know, if people could spend one night under the stars, they'd feel so much better,
Mhm.
because
Yeah,
nature is healing, and just understanding yourself and how you fit in, what your place is in nature and the cosmos, is very healing, I find.
yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that when I'm on the beach for the day in the sea, I feel so much
Yeah,
better, and you sleep so much better as well. And you go home after the fresh air, the salt from the sea, even the sounds, all of that. It's got a real healing quality to it that we don't get in the city and day to day, like you said.
yeah, that's so true. Yeah, the sea is so powerful, and all the magnesium that you get from swimming
Mm.
it makes you feel so relaxed, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then unfortunately in the city, unless you're actually seeking the nature, we really don't have much. most of us sit at our desk, and
Mm.
put the TV on or on our laptops or on phones.
Yeah, it's
We
constant, isn't it?
disconnect.
It's not
Mm,
just the young people, it's now people just constantly on their phones and on their social media, and it's
hmm
almost feel like we can't tear ourselves away, but we have to have those breaks and detoxes and resets. They're so important, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Um, so in your experience, how do themes of purpose, soul voice, and alignment show up when you work with clients?
Purpose, soul voice, and alignment. Yeah, purpose is very important because everybody's looking for their purpose, their soul path. And sometimes it's not just one thing, but it's important to have a sense of purpose. And I feel like
Mhm.
the more you look at your astrology and you work with energy healing, the clearer you get on your purpose. So if you're following your purpose, it's going to be something that that fits in with all of the souls that are coming through that have a spiritual purpose. And if everyone's working on their purpose, we are going to change the world. And that's what we're
Mm,
here to do, to bring about that positive change and work together.
mhm,
So I find often there's purpose, it's like a shared purpose, or there's once the person becomes more clear on their purpose, they'll meet a soul group and other souls will come in and there's something they can build together. So I'm very interested in that, this kind of soul group community building, because I think it's very much about that at this time.
Like the soul collaboration, Katie. A little
Yeah,
plug there.
full collaboration, exactly. And the soul voice, yeah, the voice is very important. Your voice
hmm
is your energy.
hmm
So once you start healing the chakras and aligning your energy body, you get to the point where you can speak from the heart and you can
mm
speak your wisdom, speak your truth. And this is very important, especially for women, because women have had a collective block at the throat chakra from having our voice suppressed in the past. There are many past life memories of things happening with the throat and the voice, and it's taken a lot for us to get to this stage where we're starting to reclaim our power and our voice. And so, yeah, the voice is so important. And it's all about coming into alignment, because illness and disease and frustration, all these things about through not being aligned, not being properly aligned for whatever reason, because there are blocks or breaks or disconnects. So when you fully come into alignment with your soul and your purpose and your vision, and you'll find that things just go up a gear,
Flow. hmm
have so much more energy available to you, because
Mm.
it's like the blocks have been released.
Yeah, and you're able to flow, right? Things come more easier, and I find there's more synchronicities. People come when they're supposed to into your life, and you follow your intuition more, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And that's
that's
the
it.
state we're
Yeah,
supposed to be in.
it's like you go to a higher level and you get a lot of more opportunities, and exactly, you're in the flow. Yeah, the flow of abundance.
And that's how we're supposed to be, but we blocked ourselves.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Exactly. So it's all about coming more and more into alignment and more into flow.
Sounds nice and magical.
Yeah. We are. We are.
Um, yeah, we are. No, I say that in jest, but we are. I do believe that. We have that innate ability, but we have to find ourselves again. That's what it is.
Hmm.
So, how does working with energy, astrology, or sacred journeys engage the nervous system or deeper emotional bodies differently from other conventional approaches?
Nervous system and the emotional body. Well, sacred journeys are a very experiential thing to go through. You experience it with your whole self, your energy and your emotions. And when you go to a powerful land like Egypt, the vibrations in the land are very ancient and it starts to work through your energy body. It's like a vibration. So sometimes people find it works through their chakras, they start opening their chakras and they may get emotions rising to the surface because these things have been suppressed and the energy is kind of shaking them loose. So emotional healing is very important. Um, yeah, it's something that you experience on a very deep level, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so, what are some ways your clients might uncover and release deeper patterns or limiting beliefs that they may not be consciously aware of?
Um, well, the astrology can highlight things. One of the things about astrology is that it can show you childhood patterns and relationship patterns, and sometimes you get this aha moment where everything kind of clicks and they see something which they didn't see before, or they make a connection that they didn't make before. So that can help bring the subconscious to light. Also, with energy healing, it's all about clearing out the subconscious because we have subconscious beliefs that
Mhm.
may be steering our life and we don't even know what they are. So it's all about bringing the darkness to light, shining more light onto what's in your unconscious, your subconscious, and becoming more conscious for sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of as it 'cause as you know, I'm a hypnotherapist, so we kind of work also the subconscious, but we
Right.
do yeah through hypnosis, we're working to go deep down into the subconscious, but you do it with the energy healing.
Yeah, it's something you can definitely do. Yeah, it is related to hypnosis actually. They do have a
Mm.
crossover point. So yeah, it's very powerful, as you know, subconscious work.
Yeah, of course. Is that you do more of the meditation work that you do?
Meditation, yeah, I've also done something called theta healing where you
Yes.
work at reprogramming subconscious beliefs and
Yeah, Nimi was on, she was the last guest I had, and she's coming to the retreat, and she also is a theta healer. And she was
oh,
explaining
great.
to me how theta healing works. So yeah.
Yeah.
But for listeners who are listening to this episode, please explain what's theta healing.
So the theta brainwave, it's one of the very deep meditative brainwaves that we
Mhm.
have. So it's about accessing that brainwave and accessing hidden beliefs in the subconscious that are creating unwanted results in your life and
Mhm.
changing them, changing them to positive ones. There's many. I mean, it would take a long time to explain the whole thing, but
Mhm.
it's very much about reprogramming your beliefs and clearing out past trauma and
Mhm.
changing your whole consciousness, really.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. And now, now going on to midlife, we touched on earlier. You were going to. So now, I'd like to ask you about that, Katie. So many women in midlife experience shifts in identity, purpose, energy, and body. How can the work you do support someone navigating a life transition or awakening phase?
So yeah, I would love to talk about that. There's a lot talked about the physical symptoms of menopause, perimenopause, and they're very real and very important. But I think the work that I do is more focused on the mental and emotional aspects of going through these transitions. Um, the mind is very powerful, as we were saying, and I feel like there's a lot talked about the midlife transition, about menopause at this time, and that's a very good thing, but it's also like a double-edged sword because
Mhm.
it's good that there's more awareness around it, and there's more solutions for people and more ways they can navigate this time. But also, I feel like your mental state is very important, and there's things that people don't talk about, like maybe at this time there's like there can be like a hidden grief that maybe you're losing your fertility, you're losing your youth and your beauty. And, as women, we know that we are, a lot of the time, women are valued for their youth and their beauty. And
Mhm.
you know that it shouldn't be the case, but it doesn't seem to be getting any less. It's still the case. So there can be this grief at what you perceive yourself to be losing, and then you think, well, what's next? What's after this? I've lost the things that make me valuable as a woman. So I prefer to think of it as what are you becoming?
Mhm.
And in the past, in days gone by and in pre-Christian times, when women went through the change of life, they became the oracle. So they were
Mm.
entering the age of the oracle, and
Mhm.
they were the wise women and the seers and the oracles, and that's very powerful. So
Mm.
instead of thinking, what am I losing? It might be good to look at it as, what am I becoming? I am becoming the oracle. I am becoming wiser. I am becoming kinder. I am becoming more beautiful, more everything. I am becoming.
Mhm.
So that's one way we can reclaim our power, because that's another thing with the patriarchy. It's all about taking away women's power, and we're entering a very powerful time of life. So it's important to keep your mind in a good place and look at what you are becoming. So the work I do is very much with the psyche, the mind, and the emotions. And so with astrology, there's certain transits which are quite significant at this time. One of them is the what's called the Uranus opposition. So this happens to everyone at around the age of 42. Um, so Uranus is a slow-moving planet. It takes 84 years to go all the way around the zodiac. So at age 42, it's exactly opposite where it was when you were born.
Mm.
Now, so this planet is the planet of change, it's the planet of awakening and transformation, and it also has a very kind of unpredictable quality to it. It has a shocking quality, it has this feeling of sudden change, and things might suddenly shift, and you never know exactly what's going to happen with when Uranus is affecting you. So when you get to this age, and it lasts about 2 years, so it might be from 41 to 43 or somewhere around that time, you have this opposition, and opposition is like a head-on challenge. So it's challenging you to seek freedom. It's very much about freedom, changing your life, transforming your life.
Mhm.
So it really depends on what the person's life is like. If they're stuck in a situation that doesn't serve them, then they're going to feel this urge for change in a very radical way. So maybe they're very unhappy in their job or their marriage, or the situation is very stuck. Then they might just suddenly want to break out of the box and do something really crazy. And this is actually where the whole idea of the midlife crisis comes from. It comes
Mm.
from Uranus opposition.
So
But
at this particular age, like 42, 43, you're
yeah,
saying?
I'm
Mm.
42. Um, and if you're already quite at home with following your truth and doing your shadow work, and then it will be less of a shock, but you'll still feel the urge for freedom and transformation. So
Hmm.
that's a very important age to really just go with these impulses, within reason, obviously, but just see where it takes you because it will take you somewhere completely new because it is about expanding and transforming and changing your life in some way. That's very important. And
Yeah. Just to stop you for that, that's when actually when I started training to do my training as a therapist, when I wanted to
oh,
shift
wow.
that makes sense. I was about 42, 43 when I decided I was like, there's more to life than me just being a mom. And obviously being a mom is amazing, but that wasn't my identity. So I wanted to do something that I felt, really resonated with me and was who I wanted to be, which is why I started, learning more about hypnotherapy and the subconscious. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny. Yeah.
that's a great example. Exactly. You felt a calling to
Yeah.
do something different and you followed
Mm.
it. Now here you are, you're in a better place because you've
Hmm.
honored that within yourself. You've honored your truth.
Yeah.
So
But it was exactly what you described, Katie. I actually just felt like something has to change. I
yeah,
just had my youngest, and obviously I was very happy, but I felt frustrated. I thought there has to be something else for me. So yeah, that what you said really resonated. So I had to just stop you. Sorry, Katie. Sorry for
yeah.
interrupting. You can carry on.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is good because it shows how if you understand these transits and why you're
Mm,
feeling the way you're feeling, then you're less likely to think, oh, am I crazy? Is there something wrong with me? Why aren't I satisfied? Why do I feel the need
mm,
for this? But actually, it's just a very natural cycle that you're going through and you're
mm.
becoming aware of it. Um, the other major one, which is some people say it's the biggest transit of anyone's life, and it
Mm.
affects people at the age of 50, pretty much at the age of 50. This is the Chiron return. So,
So
Chiron,
what was that? Sorry, Chiron.
Chiron, it's the biggest asteroid known as the Wounded Healer.
Hmm.
And Chiron returns to the position it was in when you were born, around the age of 50. So, Chiron being the wounded healer, if you know about the myth of Chiron, he
Yeah.
was he was a centaur in Greek mythology, and he was like an illegitimate child, so he was sort of disowned, and then he was adopted by Apollo, the sun god, and he was taught the arts of healing, and he became a very brilliant healer, and he became famous and renowned, and so he learned to shine in his own right. But then throughout the course of his life, at one point he was wounded by an arrow in his leg, and at that exact moment, the great God decided to grant him immortality. So he was given immortality, but he also had this wound that never healed because it was like an immortal wound. So it was all about he's this amazing healer, but he couldn't actually heal himself. So this is what Chiron represents.
Hmm.
It's about that core wound which you find really difficult to heal. It doesn't mean you can't heal it, but it's that thing that if you could really get to the root of it, you just become invincible. And when you have your Chiron return, it actually comes back to that point, and it can bring back all the wounds that you thought you'd dealt with or you thought you'd healed or you'd forgotten about them. It can bring them back into your
It sounds like a
awareness. So you can
not a very
imagine,
happy time, Katie. I prefer the other one.
yeah, it's it's an initiation, all these things are life initiations, and we walk through them and we become more powerful, or we just reclaim our inherent power, because it's you you revisit these wounds, and that's when you have the opportunity to release them once and for all.
Right. So
So,
there was a midlife crisis, which we've talked about, and this one now
yeah,
is a Chiron return. And this is all about like wounds coming to the surface and we have to face them.
yeah, it's
When
about
you
you
turn
kind
nearly
of,
near 50, so before like 48, 49, 50.
yeah, I think around 50 it's exact. You may feel it just coming up to it before then. It depends on how it shows in your individual chart as well. But so for, people would experience it differently, but it's an amazing opportunity to just heal everything and have done with it and just fully step into your power. And it's not like those things didn't happen, but it's just that you decide they're not going to affect you anymore. And so it's all part of this ongoing work with energy healing and trauma release and working with the shadow and transforming the psyche and just becoming more you, just getting closer to
Mm.
the essence of you. And we get
Getting
to
back
this,
to yourself, basically.
yeah, we get to these through these life initiations, and they make us more humble and more, kinder, I suppose, more attuned to it, because we go through loss. Everyone goes through cycles of loss and
Mm.
rebuilding, and then eventually you realize that nothing can really be taken away from you.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, that's a lot to think about, Katie. And in your retreats and mentoring journeys, what recurring themes or breakthroughs do you witness in women who move through change? Was that it, the midlife crisis, kind of that 42 and that Chiron return?
Mm. Um, yeah, I feel it can be a very empowering time for people, for clients and for people, especially when they get together, meet other women, other souls in groups, doing the group work, the group
Hmm.
retreats. It can be very healing and empowering because firstly, there's a lot of shared themes and similar stories, and so there's that sisterhood
Hmm.
feeling that comes about. And I feel like we all have so many gifts that we can share, and then when we get
Mm.
together with others who've gone through similar things or they're going through similar transitions, we just share all this knowledge about
Hmm.
herbs and oils and drumming and astrology, and it's like we're becoming superhuman. This is what I feel
Mm.
like.
Yeah.
We have so much available to us and such a pool of resources that if we really dive into it, we can all just really go to the next level. And we're very blessed actually, because I don't think it was like this. We're the first generation that's really at this stage. Do you know what I mean? Because in the
Mm.
past it was not quite the same.
No, I mean, I remember my mum was very much into kind of like holistic stuff and all of this, but it wasn't the mainstream. Whereas now I feel that there's much more, even like the younger generation are into it as well. So, like you said, it is much more talked about and people are much more open to it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And there's so much more information available to us because of the internet and travel. I mean, if you go way back, then there was like indigenous knowledge and tribal knowledge, and that's
Mhm.
different. But if you look at the last few decades, we're now at a point where we can share much more information. And
Yeah, you're right. And also, I think there's so much research going into it as well. There's a book, even like Why Woo Woo Works. It was written, I can't remember the name. I think it was I, I can't remember. He actually looked at the scientific reasons why, like Reiki, like energy healing crystals, all the different alternative stuff actually is
Mm.
effective, which I think is great because I do believe in it anyway. But there's some people who are still very
Yeah.
skeptical.
Yeah, there's a place for explaining how things work, and they definitely can be explained. So yeah, there's some people who are on the borderline, aren't they? And they're interested, and then if they can
Hmm.
understand how it works, then maybe they'll, just
But it's good
understand.
that they are interested as opposed to closing it off. So I think it's just some
Yeah,
people need more proof, evidence in order to understand it, which is fine. I think everyone's on their own journey, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if somebody's not interested, it's best to leave them because there's no point trying to explain it to them. But
No, of course not. But I think, it is, I think it's a great way to look at it. We are so much more than just our vessels. We are all souls, right? Who
yeah,
just in these vessels, and that's all there is to it. There's much more to us life is so expansive.
yeah, that's it. I mean, there's so many possibilities, and this is all about releasing yourself from the mental prison, isn't it? Because there's so
Hmm.
much more that we can't even imagine.
Yeah,
It's
we
just,
only see what's in front of us, but we don't really open up. And I think like doing this work, being able to go beyond ourselves and to see what we actually can do.
yeah, it's just about being more and more open-minded, isn't it?
Mhm.
Open-minded, open-hearted, and opening to the possibilities.
Yeah, which is why the idea for the retreat was that very reason for people to try different tips, different types of modalities. Somebody who might not have experienced something that you do, like channeling the Egyptian goddesses. That's great that they can come to retreat and try that. They can try, the other different types of things going on as well. So I think that's important as well.
Mm,
Yeah. Would you
sure.
agree? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and going back to your retreats, what kinds of transformations have you witnessed in those containers when you've been in Egypt? Because you go for 3 weeks. Is it how long is it? Not a week you go?
The journey that I do is around
2
2 weeks.
weeks, okay.
Yeah, I see people, being very affected by the energies. It may bring up emotions for healing.
Mhm.
They may get a glimpse of a past life and start to connect to those particular soul gifts. In fact, one of my friends, she came on one of my journeys. It was 7 years ago now, and we went to the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, and we went into one room, and they said, "This is the oil room. This is the room of the sacred oils." And she was in that room, and she received a message from Hathor telling her to work with the sacred oils. And she came home, and since that time, she went on a mission to source oils from all these places around the world and find the finest sourced oils. And she created her own range of healing oils and sacred oils, and she designed all the packaging, and she learned to work with them. And she's actually created that, and it's one of the
Wow.
many things that she does. But this was originally from a message from Hathor. So
Wow.
that's an example of something that can happen, and I guess that's guiding you towards your soul path.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, there's many ways that people can transform. When we go to the Isis temple, it's very much about the heart chakra, the heart vibration. And when you open your heart, you see things in a different way. You connect to the love frequency, and you can maybe find more understanding of people and more
Mhm.
forgiveness. Forgiveness is very important, isn't it? If you're looking at healing
Mm.
relationships, healing
Yeah.
past, releasing.
Letting go. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So there are many things that can happen. It can also help you um, develop your psychic gifts and your extrasensory perception, because the energy is very powerful. Certain temples activate the third eye, for
Yeah.
example. Um, yeah, just many transformations, and people go home. It's not just on the retreat; they go home and the energy continues to ripple out for weeks and months to come, and even years to come. And maybe they go and they meet Sekhmet for the first time, the lioness goddess of transformation, and they go home, and then they might find, some people find that she shows up for them in meditation. She keeps appearing, and she helps you to be really strong. She's like the fierce goddess of healing. So some people, they go on a journey with Sekhmet and they continue to work with her, and they continue to transform their life. So
Mhm.
that's just a few of the things that can happen.
So some powerful stuff going on there.
Mm. Yeah.
That's cool. And so for the upcoming retreat, when you're coming, it's this weekend. What may women expect from your session, from your unique style of guiding?
So I will be leading a guided meditation.
Mhm.
This is something that's important to connect to the earth, because we live on the earth. It's important to connect to the center of the earth, to Mother Gaia,
Mhm.
and connect to the universe, the cosmos, the great central sun, because we exist between the earth and sky. So it's very important to have that balance. As human beings, we are a conduit between earth and sky. So when you
Mhm.
meditate, it's important to connect to the earth, the great central sun, and activate your column of light, your chakra column. So we'll be doing a chakra meditation, and also bringing in some of the goddess energies, which are amazing for feminine empowerment and shifting stuck energy, opening up to new energy, calling in your intentions, what you wish to heal, what you wish to transform in your life.
Do you have a personal ritual habit that helps you stay grounded and connected to your own higher guidance?
Yes, I have a meditation that I do. Something that I find very powerful is always to connect to the earth, to imagine my energy anchoring down into the center of the earth
Mhm.
and connecting with the core of the earth, core of Mother Gaia, and drawing the earth energy up. Imagine like a light flowing up from the center of the earth, with layers of the earth up through your legs and your feet into your heart, and then breathing that energy into your heart, and then connecting with the starry light flowing down from the cosmos, the great central sun, flowing in through the crown chakra into the heart. And then you're breathing in the earth and the sky energy into your heart, visualizing a flame in your heart. And that's very powerful when you continue to breathe in and out in that way. You
How
imagine,
long would you recommend that, Katie, that kind of meditation for how long?
well, you can do it for about 10 minutes or so.
Mhm.
You're focusing on the flame in your heart and the light expanding into your energy fields. And it helps you to be balanced and grounded. And also, a lot of people really need to ground and connect with the earth, because a lot of people don't have a strong earth connection. So even
Mm.
just connecting with the earth in that way, it's very powerful, because you can release stuck energy down into the earth,
Mhm.
and then also you're getting that power flowing up from the center of the earth. If
Mhm.
you just try it for a few moments, it'll probably make you feel better, more energized.
So would you do it any time of the day or a
Yeah,
specific
you can
time?
do it any time of the
Mhm.
day. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great tip. Thank you. And what's lighting you up most in your work right now, Katie?
What's lighting me up in my work? Well, thinking about next year and all the new energy that's coming in, and the new ideas, new plans, because next year is a 1 year in numerology, and it's also the Chinese year of the fire horse. So it's a very dynamic energy. It's beginning of another cycle of 9 years. So the idea of letting go of the old with the ending of this year and then stepping into a completely new cycle. So it's like taking the lessons from the past 9 years and moving forwards and creating something completely different with it.
Wow, exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a good time to start new ventures then next year then.
Definitely, yeah, there'll be a lot of new beginnings and a lot of things are closing and then new beginnings, new cycles. Yeah, it's a good idea to start thinking about, making the changes that you've been wanting to make for some time and starting new chapters, new projects. Yeah,
Mhm.
all new beginnings.
Mm, cool. And if you could leave women listening with one message about reconnecting with their power, voice, and purpose, what would it be?
Hmm. Well, I would say trust yourself and trust your heart and what you feel is probably correct. So, the more you trust yourself and just accept yourself exactly as you are,
Mhm.
because we have to be our own best friend, don't we?
Great advice, Katie. I agree. Uh, so I always like to ask this. It's a podcast tradition now. I've got two questions. So, number one, what's something your body or intuition has been teaching you lately?
Something my body or intuition has been teaching me lately. Just to really take notice of every sign or intuition that I get, because I'll feel it sometimes. I don't even know where I feel it. It's almost like a breeze or something, and just suddenly I'll just have this sense of knowing. And I know if I don't listen to it, it's not, things are not going to work out well. So
Mm,
about sometimes you have a knowing and you think, oh, I should disconnect from that person, or I should not do this. And then that's when sometimes you want to question it and think, oh, but I'm sure it'll be okay. And then
mm,
you go against it, it's just not, it's not worth it. So yeah,
hmm
just following that as much as I can.
Your inner guide, your inner compass. Is that right?
Yeah, my compass.
Okay. And what does living as your limitless self mean to you right now?
Wow, I love that. Living as my limitless self. It really means that I'm a supernova.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's about embodying more and more light and
Mhm.
radiating more and more light. That's what it makes me think of. Yeah, I love that.
I love that visual. That's a great visual. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Katie, for today. And I really look forward to seeing you on this Saturday at the retreat.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah, thank you so much, Soraya. I've really enjoyed it and
Yeah, me
really enjoyed
too. See you
sharing it.
soon, Katie.
All right,
Bye.
take care. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Hot Flashes and Higher Self. And if something in today's episode spoke to you and you're feeling ready for deeper support, then you can book a one-to-one session with me. I work with women around the world to help them shift from stuck to self-led. And if you're craving real connection, movement, rest, and reset, then check out the women's retreats I host. They're a beautiful mix of healing, hot yoga, incredible food, and soul-deep conversations and connections. And you can find all the details at www.ls-therapy.com or come hang out with me on Instagram at Limitless Self Therapy. And you can also reach me directly anytime at soraya@lstherapy.com. I'd love to connect. Take care of you, fill that cup of yours, and remember, your next chapter is already unfolding.